If you know your invention's only going to be stolen from you, who's going to want to put the time, the sweat, the effort into doing that?
Oh, I hear you. I hear you. Another great example, and again, this gets down to real lives. A doctor in Oklahoma, Dr. Troy Norrid, he's a heart surgeon. And it used to be that if they needed to replace a valve in your heart, they had to cut your chest open. They had to stop your heart. They wouldn't even do it if you were pretty old. And 20% of the people who got the operation died anyway because it was such an intense operation. He came up with this idea that everyone said he was crazy. Back to how we talk about the experts and the elite and how they think they know everything, right? Everyone told him he was nuts. You're crazy. You can't do it. This will never work. And he worked it out and patented it and tested it and all that. And it's what's used now, where they take a special valve, they compress it into a catheter, they feed it up through an artery in your thigh, place it in your heart while your heart's beating, and you go home the next day.
Wow.
And millions of lives saved, multi-billion-dollar industry. Unfortunately, this is another situation. A company called Medtronics used this broken system and validated his patent. And of course, he's a heart surgeon. He's not like on the street, right? But still, I mean, he runs into doctors who do the procedure now, and he says, well, you know, I invented that, and they think he's crazy because nobody's ever heard of him. It's like he never existed. And you know what? This gets back to globalism versus the individual. What innovation is about is the individual and the importance of the individual. And in America, you know, that's what America really stands for compared to the rest of the world, the importance of the individual and individual rights. So what we're fighting to do, as we discussed, is to bring back the rights of inventors and startups when it comes to patent rights. And it is just this key thing that's needed in America, and we're totally dedicated to it. I mean, we're absolutely 100% dedicated to it. We will fight it to the end, and we think we have a shot next Congress, which is why we're pushing, encouraging everybody, call your representatives' offices, tell them to get behind and co-sponsor H.R. 5874, the Restoring America's Leadership and Innovation Act. Call your senators and say, hey, get behind a companion bill to H.R. 5874. This is important. Tell them your constituents, you care about American innovation, and they should stop catering to big tech and to China, because China is the ultimate winner if we don't bring back these rights. They're going to take the lead in technologies that are going to be very threatening to this country if they're ahead of us.
There's no question. And in fact, 2 points, and I made both of them previously, but I want to expound on them. Number one, I was there. I was the Pentagon's economic warfare consultant. I was meeting with the generals and the admirals, but I was also going into Congress. And I would pass these people in the hall, and I'd say, who is that? And there were some, great patriotic congressmen. Oh, those are people that are trying to change our patent system. It will only benefit China. And they were totally right. And I said, well, that's economic warfare. And they said yes. And so, number one, I agree with you entirely. But number two, there is this great new invention. It's called an Align Act campaign, where you don't just have to pick up the phone and call Congress. You can send emails, and you can send them, many at one time. So we'll put all that in the economic battle plan, introduce you to the inventor of the Align Act campaign, so that you can start using that. Because we've got to take this back. This is an existential threat to American prosperity, but it's also an existential threat to American liberty. Because if the Chinese dominate innovation, then we will be colonized by China. I have no doubt about that. Well, let's wrap up. We've got a couple minutes left. You've talked about some of the inventions, the medical and protecting. By the way, these are ESG. They call it environment, social governance. These are real things. These are liberty, security, value inventions that you're talking about.